Hello, hi, welcome to what I think is the last book in a utensil smut series. There's so much lore in the background of this. I don't know where to start. This started last year in like June or July. I read Fort as a joke, which led to me accidentally running a book of a bunch of other stuff. And it got a lot of views, that vlog. It was my 100th book of the year. That's what I'm doing this year. I'm doing the last one, as far as I know, of the series, which is book 4, Surfaced, which is the reverse harem one. Anyways, that's just a thing in my life. That's just a thing in my life. And I'm doing it as my 100th book of the year again. Don't ask how. End of May, I'm already at book 100. I don't know. The moral of the story is January, February, and March were like this for the amount of reading I was doing. And then April and May have been like this. But that's beside the point. We don't need to talk about that. What you need to know about this series, in case you don't want to watch the previous 3, or at least the first one to get the prerequisite information, in World War II? What? One of the two. One of the two. There was a secret government agency of specific soldiers, of men who would not be allowed into the army for a specific reason. One of them was blind beforehand. Another one had his trigger finger was, I think, in a factory accident or something like that. Right? And so because of that, they were put on experimental drugs by the government. There's a whole conspiracy thing in these. And became secret super soldiers. Like Captain America. Think Captain America, like regrowing body parts, and whatnot. Basically impossible to kill. But then, to hide what they had done, the government turned them into silverware. There was like a whole thing in the third one where one of the men was the one who actually pressed the button or lever or whatever to do it, but they learned that they gave him a special drug to mind control him. I don't know what to tell you about that one. And so there's like a secret conspiracy current day about the government still trying to hide it. There's just like occasionally just murder. Like, I'm pretty sure in the first one he beats up a whole entire underground fighting, like kills a whole entire underground fighting mob boss. I don't know, but the government has been following some of the female main characters, but also there's like conspiracies of like trying to figure out what actually happened to them. And also the other thing that you really need to know is that somehow all these men from the 40s are really into face sitting. I don't know why that's a thing in every single one. Also, the silverware vibrates. There is a famous quote of me screaming, "The fork vibrates," at the beginning of the first one. This will forever be my magnum opus. This is my legacy, and I'm fine with that. Other things, this one follows Lauren, who is Ashley's mother, single mother. Ashley was the heroine of the third one, right? Lauren is her mother. I'm watching mosquitoes. They're gonna kill me. Oh my god, I got one. They love my room, let me tell you. Anyways, Lauren is a single mother and ER doctor. She somehow, while being a single mother after being left behind by her ex, also went to med school and became an ER doctor. These men better treat her right. Anyways, in the end of the third one, when they were trying to figure out conspiracy stuff, right? It was like your normal scene where like, normal scene these, where they the heroine of the next one picks up a piece of silverware and feels some kind of connection to it. And cut to Ashley freaking out because her mother picked up, I think, one of each, if the cover goes by anything. She picks up 3. And here we are. I usually start these by reading a synopsis. I would like to thank Ruth. Also, I have my copy of, is it Spooned? No, it's Knifed. I own Knifed. I own the third one. I own it. It's over here. My copy of Knifed. It's battered up because it did start separating. The pages did. Weirdly, when I read it in a bath. Don't blame me. I was cold. My back was killing me. But these do start with a synopsis of what happens in the book. So I usually start the vlog off after giving a rundown of the previous 3 very fast, like I just did. Magically, I did it somehow in like 6 minutes. We're so proud. I will read you synopsis. Not the first sentence. I can sense, there's been a watch parties of these now, and I can sense people's reactions to these. Anyways, utensils are for more than... Apparently I can't fucking read anymore. Utensils are for more than stirring up trouble. Also, yes, I would like everyone to know I remembered the main character of this book's name because it says it right here. I had it open. Lauren gave up on love long ago. As an ER doctor, she saves lives daily and keeps her own life safe and predictable until a set of antiques silverware warms to her touch. Suddenly, Lauren finds herself... I'm sorry, I just read the bold at the end of this. Okay. Finds herself the unexpected heroine in a reverse harem tale surrounded by 3... No, 8! That's what's in bold. World War II, okay. I figured out which war it was. Super soldiers who are as tempting as they are chaotic. I get why this one's like 100 pages longer than the rest. I get it now. I see why this one's just short of 300 pages. I figured it out. Falling in love with sentient spoons, forks, and knives, it's absurd. Testosterone charged mayhem. And yet, love always finds a way. This isn't your typical sentient object romance. Expect rom-com hilarity, Marvel level action. She really leaned into the Captain America references. And a poignant love story wrapped in a quirky utensil fantasy universe. Oh my god, the cautionary warnings are also always hilarious. Utensil dynamics are highly unconventional. There's a battle brewing that can only be resolved with the elimination of Inkwell. That's a secret government group, Inkwell. There will be violence and heartbreak, but justice will finally be served. It always ends with a pun. Not the mosquitoes! They're gonna make me go crazy. How many oh my god. 28 chapters? And an excerpt of her next book. Or an excerpt of one of her normal billionaire romances. She writes she has so many normal romances. This is just a wild time. Not a note to my readers ending with my secret dream is to see these books as a movie. No one would ever look at their silverware the same again. I know people from these watch parties can't look at silverware the same, and I think some of them work in restaurants or something like that in the food industry. I've ruined these people's lives, and I'm fine with that. This is my legacy. Anyways, I want to film the intro of this now because chances are I'm gonna finish book 99 tomorrow, and so on stream tomorrow I will start this. So intro done. Stay tuned for that. I may, if I do read it during stream, I will put a time lapse of me reading in the vlog on stream. Does that make sense? I don't know. Hello, hi, welcome to my freshly washed hair. So I look like a crazy person and so much chocolate sauce in my mocha. I put so much chocolate sauce in my defense. My mother broke up with her boyfriend. He was the one who used the chocolate sauce. And we have a whole other thing up in the cupboard. So it needs to be used up. So it's fine I used like 5 tablespoons. It's very delicious. It's very good mocha. Anyways, I'm 36% of the way into Surfaced. Most of the book, oh my god, I did not expect the demon robots to be back. I didn't want them to be back. I have nightmares about that one scene in the third book. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, no, she's, like, not planning to wake up the 3 pieces of silverware she has already. The normal way, bang because she's just like, that's not my thing. Consent, right? Also, she's all like, hey, the feelings we have for each other is because of this chemical anomaly that was done to us, and so she wants to revert that, and all this stuff. Right? And so all this stuff is happening, right? And so that's happening. She's dealing with trying to figure out how to do that, but also wake up the men without using the bond. And also, there's this guy named Braxton. I don't trust Braxton. One, I get that he's a self-made billionaire, which I just learned from the last chapter because most of the last chapter was just her on the phone with him. But also, his name's Braxton. His whole thing is that he's super rich and gives money to the hospital she works at. And so, they have a special liaison for him. And, he chose her. And, she's on work vacation, and yet he's still calling her every day. The way I'd be so fucking annoyed. In fact, she told him not to do that, and he's still doing it. Anyways, so she's dealing with that man clearly having a thing for her, right? Her daughter being in love with a super soldier who is kind of dangerous and has anger management issues. Looking at you, Ray. and then I say Ray's my favorite one, right? And then her daughter drops off 4 of the robots, including the one who is basically a 13-year-old boy with a porn addiction. And the 2 creepy spider ones. The flying one I'm fine with. I think that one's named John. But the 2 spider ones really freak me out. And George, who is the one with the sex/porn addiction, gives me the creeps. So, yeah, she's dealing with a lot when Pete wakes up. Who is the first one who wakes up, who is the spoon, right? And then once he wakes up, it's a lot of them emotionally bonding, and her dealing with the fact that the last time she let herself feel love, he left her alone after she gave birth to twins because she wouldn't give up her dreams to be a doctor, and therefore she is selfish. Fuck that man. Fuck that man who's never seen his children since they were born. Fuck that man. Right? And then, so they're like all emotionally bonding and dealing with this. And she's all like, I'm twice your age. And then he's like, well, technically, I've been a spoon for 80 years. So technically, I'm twice your age. And they're both clearly into each other, but she doesn't want to have a sexual component in their relationship until the bond is broken, and then they can figure out what to do, especially since she's not into opening herself up emotionally. And so he's trying to help her through that and whatnot, but also being like, I do not like the knife and the fork. The knife and the fork, I don't think are good for her. I don't remember why the third one wasn't good for her. I think it's just like he's not emotionally mature enough to handle somebody who has gone through this much, right? And she needs somebody emotionally mature. Meanwhile, Franklin is out here being the type of man who bangs a different woman every night, right? And so he doesn't think Franklin would be good for her. She doesn't need a playboy. She needs somebody emotionally mature, right? And then, so she's on the phone with Braxton. He, like, lets her stay at, like, his lake house so that she has a better lab setup with the 4 robots and the 3 men to figure all this out, right? Both Pete and I kept the vibes Braxton is giving. I don't like Braxton. I don't trust him. Like, I fear he's gonna have something to do with Inkwell in the future. I don't trust him. And then... it ends with like a knock on the door, after she hangs up the phone, goes to check the door, expecting it to be Pete to be there. Oh no, it's Franklin. Franklin's awake and immediately hitting on her and giving me the frat boy ick. You know the one. Anyways, chapter 9 is his POV in the olden days, so there's been no face sitting yet. In fact, there's only been one kiss. And there was a part where they were hugging / cuddling, and she was sitting on his lap at the same time. And he did have a heart on. Also, I forgot about the being able to talk in each other's minds and read each other's memories. That was a thing where they were showing each other fantasies about the other one. Briefly, I don't. But nothing actual sexual has happened. The most that's happened is they did spoon. And she did make a joke that, of course, he would be the one to spoon because he's the spoon. He's the spoon. Anyways, I don't know where the other 5 men are coming from. Anyways, I am gonna go do other housework. I have, like, according to my Kindle, 2 hours left. So, we'll see. I do plan to get it done today. Anyways, so far, it's been a horror with the stupid robot and a lot of emotional maturity, but I'm not reading utensil smut for the emotional maturity. I'm reading utensil smut for the smut, and there's been no smut, and I'm 36% of the way through. I see, but, like, the first one, that was a similar thing where they weren't banging until the end. I think that's why I like the third one so much. Women were taking off their shirts and, like, halfway through. I don't. You remember that time when they were all piling on top of each other fighting? And so one of the women took off their shirt to make them stop fighting, and then they all had hard-ons while piled on top of each other. That was an experience. That was fun. What is this? What am I reading? This feels like the more mature one. Which makes sense because it is the more mature character is the main character. I get it. But it's not what I'm here for. I'm here for my utensils, but when is the fork gonna vibrate? You know? I'm just asking the important questions we all need answered. My legacy. Anyways, I'm gonna go water all the plants and whatnot. I'll be back when I reach 2/3 of the way through the book. That's how I'm doing it this time. Instead of quarter, I'm doing thirds. Yeah. Every third. I'll do the update. Oh, hi, I thought. I'm here at 49%. Because, one, there's been a lot of revelations. The 2 other have woken up. Plans have been made. I figured out how she gets 8 pieces of silverware. And also, the next chapter is Braxton. So apparently, she's gonna have 8 pieces of silverware. And a random guy. Also, I forgot about Edward. Edward is a guy who, from Inkwell, who, was turned human. I think one of the scientists or something like that. And him. So there was a gay piece of silverware. Because that was the question I had, is if they're always women turning them back. So what if man? And that was answered as a possibility. And Edward has been human or back from being silverware the longest because of that. Right? Alright, what has happened? So Franklin, we learned about Franklin, but we also learned about Elliot, who was the other piece of silverware, right? Franklin's thing. I get it. He is also being very guarded, and he's, like, the only one who's like, I don't know you, I don't trust, like, he was into, like, sexual attraction, but as soon as the emotional one started happening, he was like, yeet, I'm out of here. I do not want to have the mental conversations. I do not want you to be reading my memories. I do not want to be a part of this whole thing. Goodbye. Because, hear me out, he was able-bodied. He went into the war as a soldier, somehow lost a leg, comes home. During the time, dealing with the fact that, you know, he's in the process of losing a leg, he wasn't really writing his fiance back home. And so she just assumes he died, and he comes home to her having moved on. Bitch, I'm sorry. How long? Like, 4 months? 4 months your fiance is assumed dead. You assume. Because you didn't get letters from him for 4 months, is my estimation. And you're already kissing some other guy and happily with that guy and not going with... I was worried it was gonna be like a thing where like she was gonna like turn him down. Because he was like, the whole reason why he didn't marry her before he went off to war is because he wanted her to have her perfect day, not overshadowed by war, for the wedding. And so I was worried, because he lost Elector of the war, if maybe that would be a thing. No, it wasn't really a thing. She's just a different kind of bitch. The cheating kind. So anyways, Broken Heart goes to join Inkwell, where they were able to bring back his leg, but not his heart. And now he throws away every woman he knows. It's so funny. Anyways, I think it's Elliot who he told about this, at one point when they were, like, all drugged up on whatever Inkwell gives them. So, Elliot tells her in, like, the mind conversations, so now she knows, and so they're, like, understanding that he not, because of past relationship stuff. So I could see how him and Lauren could actually be really good together, because they both have similar things in common when it comes to previous love. I could see it, and they both have reservations because of that. Anyways, Elliot had polio. That's it. He had polio. He was bullied a lot, and because of it, and yeah, which means I don't think I brought up what Pete's thing was. He had the shits a lot. He had stomach issues. So funny. Which means the ones we know about, because I don't know about Edward, but we have a guy who didn't have a leg, guy with polio, guy who's blind, a guy who was abused so much as a child he was disabled. Fucking Ray's background is wild, fam. A guy without a trigger finger, and a guy who has bad tummy issues. Got a wide range here. Anyways, the plan is that they are all going to go to this campground that Braxton offered to her, right? With the understanding that while he is in Ireland right now, he will probably show up when he gets home, and she's gonna have to handle that somehow, right? And Elliot agrees with P that there's something going on there, at least on Braxton's side. Also, there's apparently a thing that, because Braxton would send them, like, birthday cards all the time, when, like, for their birthdays and whatnot, the kids thought that Braxton was actually their father, and asked her at one point, and she'd be like, no, this is just a man I work with who cares more about you than your actual father. Imagine. Anyways, men. Did I mention there's, like, a whole family connection there where his family wants him to be with her? Because she's steady and good with children and whatnot. Because one of his brothers was a patient of hers once. I don't know. Other thing. Oh, yeah. So they're gonna go to the campground, right, and do or compound, and do this, right? And part of that is that they're gonna bring the rest of Silver with them, which is 5 more. 5 more. And because somehow Lauren is able to awaken them without sleeping with them all, and the whole part of the reason why they're gonna be there is for her to remove the bond, learn how to remove the bond anyway, so the bond doesn't really matter. She is going to awaken the 5 others. She's gonna bond with the 5 others, find a way while they're there to remove the bond so they all have, you know, the ability to consent. Great idea. Right? That way they can't, like, be bonded with somebody who has negative connotations or whatever, that will use this power for evil, because the bond is very strong and they do attack each other in defense of their woman if you say a bad word or something slightly rude to them. So, like, imagine, yeah, what could happen there? So they're gonna go to the compound and wake them up there, so that can work out, but also then they can all be together and safe from the government. Gotta hide from the government. And do all this stuff, and then yeah, that's the plan. And so they can like teach the men how to, you know, live in the 21st century. Right? Get them new identities, all this stuff, while they're also there, do all that fun stuff. And I'm assuming Braxton's gonna show up soon, because next chapter is Braxton's chapter. I may time lapse after this. I think I'm gonna do that, actually. I will see if I will update you at 66 or when I'm done. Possibly 66. I think it was page... I know it was chapter 19. So if I just... Okay, yeah, it was page 169. Is when I'm at like technically 68%. So that should take me another like 30-40 minutes. So we'll see what happens in that 30-40 minutes. Also, I'm just bored. A lot of this is just them being emotionally mature and having emotional bonds, and also lore of the universe. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Where's my utensil smut? Oh my god, I am gonna go say this to people. Oh, I'm gonna be honest with you. It is 68%. It is because I don't know. So I have to pause afterwards. Hi, hold on. Things happen, I guess. Also, she's now bonded with Aikman. They have figured out what the problem is that's making them like this, and also that Inkwell is still a thing, and also still experimenting on people. And I think we're actually be like a couple of percent. So that's nice. I guess we're gonna be here. Oh no, no. I'm like, listen, I can do something. Maybe 40 minutes. I really asked you to do research. Because I'm I'm kind of not looking at that much. It's fine. It's not what I wanted. Well, you know, I want to take a pencil, smart romance. I actually want pencil, smart romance. I have 68% no slide at all. She has kissed 2 pieces somewhere, but that doesn't happen. And she's now in a relationship with Braxton. Also, I'm just trying to think now to get Braxton. I don't. What am I supposed to do? Anyways, we learned that he was fighting with my dad. Something happened where he was going through his suit, and always just had 33 burns, blah, blah, and that is why he made it. He made that made him super rich. Because he like made it so that didn't have anyone else type thing. Also, it ended up being useful for a lot of other things, right? As a little bit, and he used that money to donate to burn units so that other people didn't have the scars that he has. That took years and years and years to like heal. Understandable. Okay, I get that. Understandable. And she's like, "Ooh, you want to go over to your house? You want?" I don't know. He shows up with his two brothers. Runs double scene. It was, and then he watched 8 men turn to silver and turn back even. Didn't make me heal a little. Anyway, like, oh, you want to do more, breaks a piece of marble off their countertops, and he like really crumbles it to pieces, and then he breaks his arm. It was a big deal, and he's like, "Oh, you know now, right?" He admits his feelings to her. She's like, right. So now they're kind of, they have this now. She figured out what this specific thing is that makes the bond happen. And then the centipede robot who really likes to do research and stuff. I think she just like asked him the programming, and never the answer she wants, which is so like, asked what the specific chemical was, because they found it like searching it, and apparently like it was a thing, blah, blah, and because they were like, well, so experimenting on people, by making cyborgs specifically. So we're all because other robots are behind this, right? And then because the testing doesn't always go well, like every single round since the 40s, since 41, every single round has been presumably killed because they don't work out well. Right? Because the birthday gives them eventually wears off. And so they stopped using that specifically with this group, so they started going different routes, and that's how they got to like making cyborgs basically. But sometimes the brain does not connect well with the part, blah blah blah, and then you get something take it, kill it. And like everybody's doing it. I don't know. So basically also they've learned they've also learned that the bond and fish, like the actual chemical like leader on its own, it wears off eventually, right? And so the reason that the initial reaction bond is because they concentrated the bond, and so it's not like actually a bond, but because of that they still have the unofficial bond. And I think it's about 1.5 hours. I think that's the telepathy. That's what I'm oh, I'm confused. And so because she never something any of her ate, they should all wear off eventually, and she should be fine. And then her and Braxton can be together. And they're gonna adopt the robot. They're gonna adopt the robots. They're gonna have like robots. And they're gonna no fork vibrating. Oh, what am I here for? I'm gonna read the fork fork vibrating content. Oh my god. Anyways, I'm gonna finish real quick. I'm like, you see me time lapse. Probably freaking out. I believe that you saw me freaking out. The freak out at the end. The group of men make a plan to not tell the woman that they're actually gonna just go kill all of Inkwell, right? Right? And oh, there's also a sex scene between Braxton and Lauren. I don't care about that. Braxton, I was just sitting there bored the whole time. The whole time that I was bored, that was that. And it was at like 75%. Anyways, so Braxton, his like benefactor when he first invented the whatever, is a guy who apparently would be on their side. And so he hits him up. His name's Dominic. Imagine my surprise when Dominic's POV shows up and I'm just like, what the fuck? Who's this bitch? Right? And then, so apparently Dominic, is all like, okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna trick everybody who works for Inkwell, every scientist, ever higher up, all of them into one building, right? And then what they're gonna do is they're gonna mail them the soldiers as silverware. And we get to see this. And so they turn into humans in front of them. And so they're like, haha, who we're experimenting on aren't real people. Haha. Suddenly, a dozen soldiers, as they're trying to take their lunch break. Oh my god. And then it's Christmas. Lauren and Braxton are engaged, who cares? Dominic has invited a bunch of the soldiers to an island he owns or something, and he makes it clear that he will protect them from being used by anybody else, but he will harm them, kill them, if they go to the dark side, basically. It's just like, Dominic, what? And then he goes to the spider robots, and he's just like, hey, my children could be your best friends if you stop being scared for like 5 fucking seconds, and is very cryptic and weird, and somehow that works. The end. To then, I know that Made for the Billionaire, which is the book that I have for free, she gave us for free, when we got knifed, right? So I do own this one. Apparently, he's the main character in that one. They're connected! That's what the freak out was about. They're connected! She connected her universes. Anyways. It also has an excerpt from it, chapter 1, which apparently starts with his father dying. Funny. Anyways, I'm gonna skip to the ending note. Wait a second. Dominic lives on through the other series in my billionaire world. He starts a family on his own. Is he in the other series? I saw that she has like 6 billion series. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's at least another one that's connected to him, because it's the same last name. 7. That one's also the same last name. 8, 9, 10, 11, 11, and then there's so far 1 book of another series and this series that is at least connected. So at least 12, at most 12 actually, that he's in. As far as I know, 4, at least 4. The first one, the 2 that have the same last name in the series titles, and this one. Ruth is the whole universe. I don't know what to do with this information. I don't know. Who am I? What year is it? Also, I was eating the whole time during that last one. I was eating these golden berries, and a few of them got more tart the further down the thing I got. And they hurt a little bit. It's fine. I feel fine. Oh god, I can't believe in my freak out about Dominic, I forgot to bring up important stuff that happens in the book. I'm so normal, including but not limited to Ray forcefully turning Braxton. I'm not kidding. He literally slices open Braxton's arm and his own arm to like try to get his own blood inside of him. Doesn't work. So then he rips open his own hand and basically gives his blood to Braxton to drink. And at a later point when Braxton's like, so you thought feeding me your blood would give me your superpowers. And he says, yeah, because it works for vampires. I'm going crazy. I'm going fucking crazy. Anyways, he does that. And so now he can't turn into silverware. But he does have all the other abilities. They are able to telepathically communicate. Him and Lauren. And Lauren, because, you know, when you bang a super soldier, apparently you get superpowers yourself. I forgot about the camouflaging. She can camouflage now. I forgot. This was an accident. There was a part where they were in the woods. And he's like trying to train her to use her abilities. And by doing that, he did the typical, I don't know why this is in like almost every romance nowadays, where they basically do the hunt them down type thing, but she's trying to camouflage. I swear there's at least one scene in a romance book every month that this happens for me. I just live here. Should I label this as paranormal romance? I guess I will. I think that's what I did with the other three. Anyways, I think he's gonna have a fun time trying to figure out where to put this in the vlog. But yeah, no, that's another thing that just happened. I forgot about. It's a reading experience. I give the whole series a 4-star though, so recommend. Anyways, I finished it. I read book 3 stars, and most of it was set up for the resolution of the whole entire universe, which I get is a hard thing to do while also doing your own romance in it at the same time, right? That's the reason why Death by Laura Thalassa is like my favorite in that series, because it manages to do both at the same time, right? But it focuses a lot on the resolution aspect, and then we don't get to actually see the resolution, and less on the romance. And hear me out, I'm here for utensil smut, and I didn't get any. And that's fine. It's fine, it's just not what I wanted when I picked it up. And I'm gonna have to just move on with my life. 3 stars, my least favorite in the series, technically, but it's still a good time. I highly recommend. And I'm gonna move on with my life. I finished a series. Let's be proud. Let's be proud of me, the person I am, finishing a series in the year 2025. How could I do that? But good book, but not as good as the rest. I kind of want to go reread Knifed now, because that's my favorite one, I think. I think Knifed is officially my favorite. I think it goes Knifed, then Spooned, then Forked, then obviously Serviced. Which is wild. I think don't quote me on this, but I think Knifed is the most smutty, which is so funny. I love that for me, personally. Why am I like this? Outro. Fun times. Me, I can do this. I can do this. How many tries will it take me? Who knows? But Wednesdays, dating videos from Twitch. It should be the regular setup now that I am pre-filming a ton. Saturdays are booktube videos, whether those be vlogs or read with me's. And then Mondays I do weekly recaps of what I've read. I don't know why my dog decided now it's time to get up out of bed, but she did. And I'm gonna go. Now that I've read Serviced, I don't know what to do with my life now that I've finished this journey that I've been on for nearly a whole year. Wild. Anyways, I've read 100 books this year. Goodbye.